Hello, Brightmoor Kids. We are learning about Moses, who was an ordinary hero who learned many lessons in his life. Loneliness is a difficult thing to deal with. Many children can feel like they're all alone in life. No friends, no family, nobody. It's very difficult to handle life's lonely times. It's even worse when you feel that God has abandoned you and forgotten you. At times, due to our own actions, we get off the path that God has for us. During this time, it can seem that God is silent. It may even seem like he isn't even there. Let's check in with Captain Obvious and see where he is and learn more about Moses' life.
Hey everybody, it's me, Captain Obvious. Man, this is a bummer. I made a huge mistake. I was trying to help the community by stopping a man from breaking into a car. Turns out it was his car to begin with. So if you can't tell, I got arrested, and I'm in jail. I should have been more patient with God's plan and waited until he told me it was the right time. I got way ahead of myself. You may remember from our Bible story last time that Moses did the same kind of thing. He knew that God had called him to deliver the Hebrew people from slavery in Egypt, but he got way ahead of God's plan. He ended up killing an Egyptian soldier and running into the wilderness. I feel a lot like Moses, I bet. Alone, forgotten. I almost want to ask, God, have you forgotten me?
Of course not.
Master Treelimb, what are you doing here?
I was playing Go Fish with the guards outside when I heard you whimpering in here.
I wasn't whimpering, I was humming, heroically. And how can you play Go Fish anyway? You have tree limbs for hands. Where'd you get those things?
I was bitten by a radioactive lumberjack.
Oh, like Spider-Man?
Spider-Man was bitten by a spider, not a lumberjack.
Okay, but wouldn't that have given you lumberjack powers then?
Oh sure, that's what everyone says. Where are your lumberjack powers? What, should it be something like growing a beard or something?
Oh, but it could be a super beard that deflects bullets. And you could shoot maple syrup from your fingers.
I already can.
Huh?
Enough syrupy nonsense. I came to let you know that God hasn't forgotten you.
Yeah? And how would you know? I think God's done with me. I messed up big time. I don't even think he wants me to be a superhero anymore.
Don't be silly, Captain Crybaby. God hasn't forgotten you. His plan for you is still the same. It was you who got ahead of him. He's just waiting on you to come to him and allow him to get you back on track.
And how am I supposed to do that? I'm in jail.
Oh, I guess that's why I just paid your bail for you.
What? How?
I have lots of green. Get it? Green, tree hands, whatever. You're free to go. The police realize you were just trying to help. The man you hit has dropped the charges. You're free to go.
Really? Oh, that's awesome. God hasn't forgotten me.
Of course not. Now come on, we need to get back to your training.
And you need to get into your lesson about Moses in the wilderness and how God spoke to him through the burning bush.
Time to go.
Okay. Well, Master Treelimb, I'm stuck. Help!
In this lesson, you will learn through the story of Moses and the burning bush. We're gonna learn that God is always there. He never forgets or abandons us. In fact, he will reveal himself to us right there in the wilderness if we allow him. Now let's find out what's up.
What's up, kids? I am back to tell you our what's up, and that is even in my lonely times, I know I am on his mind. Okay, so we're gonna have some motions with this because it's kind of a longer one. I know I still need to learn it. So what we're gonna do is when we say even in my lonely times, we're gonna go like this. We're gonna shrink into a little shell because we're lonely. So even in my lonely times, and then we'll say, I know I am on his mind. So you're gonna point to your mind when you get to mine, and you gotta turn around in between. So even in my lonely times, I know I am on his mind. Okay, let's do it all at the same time. Let's do boys first, all right? Boys, stand to your feet. Stand to your feet. On the count of 3, you're gonna do it with me. 3, 2, 1. Even in my lonely times, I know I am on his mind. Okay, good job, boys. You can sit down. Ladies, stand up. You're gonna do it with me on the count of 3. 3, 2, 1. Even in my lonely times, I know I am on his mind. Great job, boys. You can stand up. Girls, stay standing. We're all gonna do it together at the same time. I wanna see you guys crouch those legs and bend those feet and point where they're supposed to be pointed. Already? On the count of 3, everybody do it with me. 3, 2, 1. Even in my lonely times, I know I am on his mind. And that is our What's Up.
Hello, hello. I am Jebel, famous fashion designer extraordinaire, and I design costumes for superheroes. Today, I am working on a very unique costume for a superhero named Geriatric Gal. But while I work on this, I need you to get into today's power verse. In today's power verse, it says, "For God has said, I will never fail you. I will never abandon you." Hebrews 13:5. That was an amazing power verse. I need a little bit of help from the girls. I need you to stand with me and let's say the power verse together on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. For God has said, I will never fail you. I will never abandon you. Hebrews 13:5. What a fantastic job, females. Have a seat, have a seat. Now I need all of my boys to stand up and say the power verse with me on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. For God has said, I will never fail you. I will never abandon you. Hebrews 13:5. Very good. Have a seat. Have a seat. Listen, I want to tell you a story that happened to me when I was just a little boy. I was in the grocery store shopping with my mama, and I looked around and I could not see her, and I started yelling, "Mama, mama!" And I was running around. She says to me, "Hey, Jabal, I'm over here. I have not forgotten you." And in life, it is the exact same way. God will never forget you. He knows exactly where you are at all times. So, I need everyone to stand up and let's say the power verse together on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. For God has said, I will never fail you. I will never abandon you. Hebrews 13:5. Very good. Have a seat, have a seat. Listen, while you were doing the power verse, I was finishing the costume for Geriatric Gal. Would you like to see it? Yeah! All right, here it is. Thank you, thank you. Well, it is time for me to go. But until we meet again, I am Zebel saying, peace out.
Today's Bible story is found in Exodus chapter 3, verses 1 through 7. You might remember when we left Moses in our last story, in our last lesson, right? He had made a terrible mistake. He got impatient with God's plan and decided to do what? Take things into his own hands. He killed an Egyptian, got in trouble with Pharaoh, and ran for his life into the desert. Many years passed, and Moses, he grew older. He married a woman from the tribe of Midian. He started a family. He began to work as a shepherd, taking care of his father-in-law's flock. One day, he was in the fields taking care of his flocks of sheep. He was minding his own business, doing his own thing, probably thinking this was just going to be another day watching sheep. But that's not what happened. He got that wrong. Moses looked in the distance, only to see what looked like a bush that was on fire. Moses wasn't sure why, but it seemed like the bush was on fire. So he got up and went to look and decided, I need to get closer. When Moses got close, a voice came out of the bush saying, Moses, Moses, take off your sandals. You are standing on holy ground." Who do you think was speaking to Moses? That's right, it was God. So Moses took his sandals off and bowed down with his face towards the ground. He knew that he was in the presence of God. But how? How could God be in the middle of the wilderness? Surely God had forgotten all about him since he was far away from his home, especially since he had sinned and messed up so badly. But God had not forgotten Moses, not at all. He knew exactly where Moses was the whole time. God was waiting until his timing was right. God spoke from the burning bush. He said to Moses, "I have seen the suffering of my people in Egypt. I am sending you to lead them to freedom." Remember the nation of Israel that has been held captive in slavery to Egypt for over 400 years? God was calling Moses to go and lead the people into freedom. Isn't that amazing? He had not forgotten Moses, and he had not forgotten the people and the plan that he had for Moses still. Even though sometimes it seems that things aren't going well and we're alone, God has not forgotten us. The truth is, we are always on God's mind. His plan for us isn't to destroy us or isn't destroyed because of some mistake. He does not leave us. He will never forget you. He doesn't abandon us either.
Stories of the Bible. Moses and the burning bush. This is Moses.
Hello.
Moses was an Israelite boy born in Egypt in a time when Israelite boys were not supposed to live.
Wait, huh?
The Israelites were slaves to the Egyptians. But God had a special plan for Moses,
Oh, wait?
and he spent his childhood in the palace of the Pharaoh. You see, when Moses grew up, he made a big mistake.
Uh-oh.
Pharaoh found out what Moses had done, and he tried to have Moses killed. So Moses ran away from Egypt. He stopped in the land of Midian, and 7 sisters came to the well to give water to their father's flock. Some shepherds came to drive them away,
Hey, you.
but Moses stood up for the women.
Hey.
Now these sisters were the daughters of the Midianite priest named Jethro. When Jethro heard what Moses did for his daughters, he sent for Moses. So Moses came to live among the Midianites, and he married Zipporah, one of Jethro's daughters.
Huh?
Meanwhile, back in Egypt, the old Pharaoh died, but he was replaced by a new Pharaoh who continued to treat the Israelites poorly.
Oh, man.
The Israelites cried out to God because of the terrible things that the Pharaoh made them do. God heard these people and knew it was time to act. One day, Moses was tending Jethro's flock when an angel of the Lord appeared to Moses through a burning bush that would not burn up.
Whoa.
Moses stopped to look at the bush, and he heard the voice of God say, "Moses, Moses."
Hello?
God then told Moses how sad he was because of the suffering of his people. He told Moses that he wanted to do something about it, and he wanted Moses to be the one to do it.
Oh, man.
But Moses did not think he was the right person to go. God said, "I will be with you."
Morning.
But Moses said that he wouldn't know the right thing to say to the people. So God said to tell the people that God himself had sent him and promised Moses that his plan would be fulfilled through Moses. But Moses still said to God that he did not think the people would believe him. So God said, "What is that in your hand?"
Oh, okay.
Moses said, "A staff." God told Moses to throw it on the ground.
Wow, okay.
Then God told Moses to catch it. God showed Moses another sign. And told him to show these signs to the people if they did not believe what he said. Moses still didn't think he would have the right words to say, but God said that he himself was the one who made a man's mouth and gave him the ability to speak, so there was no need to worry. Yet even after all this, Moses said, "God, please send someone else." Then God got mad at Moses, and said that he would send Moses' brother Aaron to speak for Moses. So Moses went back to his father-in-law and told him that he needed to go back to Egypt. Moses and his family started their journey back to Egypt, and Moses carried the staff of God in his hand, for this staff would be the tool God would use to demonstrate his awesome power to the Israelites and to the Egyptians.
Have you ever seen your grandparents with a string tied around their finger, kind of like this? A long time ago, people would tie a string around their finger in order to help them remember something. When they would look at the string, it would remind them of the thing they didn't want to forget. Nowadays, people use something more like this. People don't like to forget things. So they buy themselves all kinds of gadgets and tools. Maybe your mom or dad have something like this. What do you use to help you remember things? Even though it's a very bad thing to forget something, like to bring home the milk, or you forget to stop and get something for dinner, it's really bad when you forget someone. What's even worse is when you are the one who's been forgotten. Have you ever been forgotten? Okay, I have a little bit of a funny story. One time when I was younger, probably about your guys' age, I was at school and I couldn't drive, so my sisters were the designated drivers to come and take me home because they also went to the same school, and I was left there. I was ready to leave. I got my backpack and my coat on, and I saw my friends leave. I saw my other friends leave, and it was just me and the teachers, and I was like, where is my sister? Where is she? And it wasn't the best feeling being left there alone, but luckily I was able to call them and they remembered that I was also at school and they had to come back and pick me up. But in the meantime, when I was sitting there, I was by myself and I had been forgotten. In our Bible story today, we find Moses in a time when he probably felt forgotten. Even worse, he felt forgotten by God. He knew that God had a plan for his life, but he really messed up when he killed that Egyptian. Through our Bible story today, we learn some really important things about moments when we think, God, have you forgotten about me? The first lesson we learn is,
God hasn't forgotten me. Although it can sometimes feel like it, God doesn't forget you. Even when you are the one who messed up and sinned, God never leaves you or abandons you. He knows right where you are. He knew where Moses was, even though Moses was out there in the middle of the wilderness. God showed up right where he was. He spoke directly to Moses. He even called Moses by name. It's so easy for you to think God has forgotten you. You may have sinned and wandered away from God, but God knows right where you are. He will show up right in the middle of your lonely wilderness time of life. And when God shows up,
God's presence makes the wilderness a holy place. Often, we can begin to be so sad and lonely when we feel like we're out of God's plan. When we think that God has forgotten all about us, it can start to feel just like Moses when he was in the wilderness. He was a long way from where he started in the palace of Pharaoh. But when God showed up there in the wilderness, everything changed. God said, "Take off your shoes, Moses. The place you are standing on is holy ground." That means when God showed up to that place, it became holy and special, and Moses actually began to worship God there because he realized that God was holy and deserved his worship. When God shows up in your life, that's exactly what you should do. Worship him. Wherever God is, that place is holy. After Moses worshiped God, he revealed to Moses that he had not forgotten about the people in Egypt. He had a plan to set them free. Can you guess who God planned to use to set the people free? That's right, it was Moses. That means that even when I fail, even when I mess up, Even when it seems like all is lost,
God still has a plan for my life. God didn't change his mind about using Moses to set his people free. And he doesn't change his mind about you and me either. Our actions may delay God's plan for our lives, but it doesn't cancel God's plan for our lives. Today, some of you need to remember, even though it seems like you are all alone, God still has a plan for your life. Even though it feels like God has forgotten you, God still has a plan for your life. Even though it seems like you have been suffering for a long time, God still has a plan for your life. Don't give up. Don't quit. God hasn't forgotten you. He still has a plan for your life.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Rewind Review. We have our returning champion, Mr. Durante. Then we have returning rival, Miss Daniela. Who will take the win? I don't know. It might be me, might be our two contestants. Let's find out. Question number 1. What's up today?
Even when I'm lonely inside.
No, even
in my lonely times. Similar. I know I am on his mind.
Great teamwork. I'll give you both a point.
Oh, no, you can just give him a point. I'm good.
Number 2. What did Moses see while he was watching his flocks?
A burning bush?
Correct, Miss Danielle. Head to head, it's tied. Number 3. Who spoke out from the bush?
It was the Lord.
God. Yep.
Great answers. Number 4. Why did God tell Moses to take off his shoes?
Because he was on holy ground.
Great answer again. Number 5. Did the bush burn up?
I thought you were done. You were gonna say completely.
I was.
It didn't. It did not burn up.
Correct answer.
Completely.
Number 6. According to our lesson today, God has not blanked me.
Is it failed?
Incorrect.
Oh, wait. God
Danielle?
has not blanked me. God has not.
You can use
Oh, forgotten.
Correct again, Mr. Devante. Number 7. According to our lesson today, God's presence makes the wilderness a blankety blank.
Oh, holy place.
Correct one more time. Now, number 8. According to our lesson today, even when I mess up, God still has a blank for my life. Plan is correct. 2 more to go. Number 9. Did God forget about his people suffering?
No.
You didn't get him. Let him finish.
You have too many pauses. I think you're done with the question. I'm sorry.
Are you the host? Would you like to be the host?
No.
Number 10. Where was our power verse found?
Hebrews 13:5.
And that is correct, Miss Danielle. Thank you for our both contestants. I'm Mr. Josh. Thank you for watching.
For God has said, I will never fail you. I will never abandon you. Hebrews 13:5.
Thanks for watching once again as we've gone through the life of Moses. We have just learned that you are not alone. Moses was not alone, not forgotten. He's right beside you. God is. So please keep that in mind. Take that with you. God has not forgotten you, even after a mistake. And so we'll see you next week as we learn a little bit more about Moses.